Live from San Diego, this is the Fox 5 News at 1.
The number of reported incidents of assault, vandalism, and harassment targeting Jewish communities and people in the United States was the highest on record last year. According to the Anti-Defamation League, incidents were up 34% from the year before.
And companies have been dropping partnerships with Kanye West after he made anti-Semitic comments. Big corporations like Adidas, Gap, and Balenciaga have also cut ties. Today, Peloton announced it will no longer use Kanye's music in new classes. And joining us now is the CEO of Jewish Federation of San Diego County, Heidi Gantwerk.
Yeah.
Heidi, thank you.
Thank you.
Heidi, tell us where this all comes from. What's the roots of anti-Semitism? Why is it showing itself, again in this way today?
So anti-Semitism is thousands of years old. I wish I could point to something that was very recent, but it has been around through centuries and centuries. And it takes the form of conspiracy theories and beliefs about Jewish people, and it has resulted in things like the pogroms in Eastern Europe and the Holocaust most significantly. We're seeing it tick up today as we see other forms of hate speech and bigotry tick up in the United States and around the world. And particularly anti-Semitism right now in this country, as you mentioned, 34% rise in anti-Semitic incidents and a 60% rise in anti-Semitic incidents against Jewish institutions. And Jews make up 3% of the population and almost 4 times that, the percentage of hate crimes, religious hate crimes in this country.
Let's talk about the ramifications of this. This type of talk and the uptick in anti-Semitism. Really, what is causing that increase?
Well, as to what you asked about the ramifications of what's happening right now, I mean, I will share with you that the Jewish community is as nervous as I have ever seen it, as anxious in my lifetime. Holocaust survivors are hearing echoes of things that are very, very disturbing to them. If you're a Jewish parent of a preschool child, you're looking at where the armed guards are if you're choosing a preschool. If you run a Jewish institution in this community right now, you are dedicating huge amounts of money to security, to physical target hardening, to training. And so we are in a place where we are very, very nervous. And this kind of hatred has been around a long time, but it is becoming much more widespread because it's being normalized. It's being normalized on the internet. It's being normalized by, sadly, some of the leaders in this country who use some of these tropes. And that normalization makes it okay for those on the extremes. And the fear is that it's going to then provoke those on the extremes to violence. And we've seen that. We've seen that today as the 4th anniversary of the Tree of Life shooting in Pittsburgh. And it's also, several years since the synagogue in Poway, at Chabad of Poway, somebody came in and shot those people because they look Jewish, because it's a place where Jews go.
Heidi, you look back at the Holocaust 75, 80 plus years ago, and you grow up thinking, okay, that's never going to happen again. We're past that as a society. But then social media comes, and another generation passes. Why has it become, so prevalent to be able to, for people to share those hateful ideas once again, for that to, potential to come back again? Not to that scale, but just the hate that is inexplicable.
Well, I wish I had a good reason to say why it's been okay, because to me it's never okay, it's reprehensible. But again, the normalization of, you mentioned Kanye, we have major political leaders, we have people tweeting these things out who have followings of 10 million, 20 million people. And so you make a comment that references all of these old anti-Semitic tropes about Jews controlling the media and the way we interact with money, and then you start getting into Israel and the conflict with Palestine, and you start associating American Jews with what's happening in Israel. And that's going out to people. Say you have 10 million followers, probably 3 million of them have ever met a Jewish person. And the other 7 million are reading this person's tweets and reading their Instagram, and why not believe it? They don't have anything to counter that. And the education system has not stepped up in terms of Holocaust education, in terms of educating people about anti-Semitism as a unique form of hatred. It's not racism exactly, it's not religious exactly, right? The Jews are a people, and anti-Semitism and Jew hatred is against the Jewish people. And so if you look Jewish, you are now a target in this country on occasion.
You mentioned education. How are students being affected at this point in time? How are young people being affected by this?
It's very, very stressful, in particular on our college campuses, where it has become a hotbed of anti-Semitism and anti-Israel sentiment, which sometimes crosses the line in the way people talk about Israel and make accusations towards young American college students who, last I checked, are not influencing the policies of Israel. But simply by claiming Israel has a right to exist, they're targeted, their buildings are vandalized, they're physically threatened. So it's very stressful. Jewish parents now call around to see, is this college campus safe for my kids? And high school students, it's filtering down there, and now we've seen in middle schools as well.
As you laid out here, Heidi, it's not something new, but when you see something like Kanye West, somebody with that much influence, if you will, over a lot of people, saying the things that he has said lately, what's your reaction? What's the Jewish community's reaction? When you just see that and you try to figure out what's going on here.
Well, we're all talking about it. I think everyone is really saddened and frightened, because that kind of talk, as I said, then triggers people on the fringes, and the potential for violence is there. And look, my kids grew up listening to Kanye, right? I mean, Kanye was their soundtrack of summer camp. And so the betrayal also, when you see celebrities that Jews have admired for years, to put this out there into society and to really foment and exacerbate this hatred, people are very, very upset. At the same time, I see a coming together of the community, because we need to work together to fight this, to educate, to work with corporations on their DEI initiatives so that they're including anti-Semitism, so that schools' curriculum makes sense, and to make sure our interfaith allies outside of the Jewish community also understand our worldview, what we're seeing, and work with us together to end anti-Semitism and all forms of hate.
Such an important perspective. Heidi Gantwerk from Jewish Federation of San Diego County. We appreciate the insight and the perspective. I think a lot of people need to hear it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.